Hit you with another one of them old phenomenal shit.
Hello everyone, Chris from Undrlvld here. Thank you for swinging by, and I appreciate all the continued support that we've been getting. It means a lot to me, and it means a lot to the team. Just want to remind everyone that our first giveaway is going on right now. I'll have a link in the description down below, and I'll have a pinned comment with the link to our giveaway. We're going to be giving away an awesome Naruto figure, so if you want that, just go ahead and click on the link wherever it is, and you'll be able to enter into the giveaway. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, notification bell, all that jazz. We've been getting a lot of support lately, so I want to keep up the momentum, as it's great having everyone around, and I love the conversations I've been having in the comments, so hopefully we have more. So today is going to be the last video coverage on the book Valda Spire of Secrets, made by Mage Press. It's been a fantastic supplement. I was gonna cut it up into some more videos, but I kind of felt like that'd be milking it. So it's not gonna be the last video I do on Mage Press content. I do have some plans to do some stuff in the future, but this video will be a top 10 character customization, spells, magic items, kind of lumping it all together since, you know, it's similar to an extent. So you could say it's a top 10 character stuff. So before we get into it, just a few things that I have to go over. In this book, Mage Press created something called auxiliary levels. What exactly are auxiliary levels? They're essentially 1-level classes that you obtain, be it through hard work or narrative reasons. It's pretty much up to you and the DM if you get an auxiliary level, how you get it, and what the auxiliary level is. You gain them, though, mechanically speaking, kind of the same way you would, multi-class into a separate class. So, so long as you meet the prerequisites and the DM gives you the go-ahead, then it's yours. Like any other class that you would multi-class into, you'll also gain additional hit dice and additional hit points, and you'll gain possibly some additional proficiencies and languages. Pretty much the auxiliary level is going to tell you what you gain in the process, similar to, when you would multi-class into another class. And still, even though they're auxiliary levels, proficiency bonus is still based on the total character level, and auxiliary levels obviously contribute to your overall character level. Next up, we have starter feats. They're optional variant rules that you can take at first level. Again, you have to receive permission from your DM. These starter feats can provide variations to game's core mechanics or impactful background elements for a character. Basically, they're feats that you can get at first level for free that I would say heavily impact the way you develop your character and how you would roleplay and play as your character. Which, from what I understand and from campaigns I've been in before, sometimes DMs give you that freebie feat anyway. So I would say these are just a bit more impactful overall, rather than just, a feat that impacts, mechanically how you play the game. Starting in at number 10, we have Arrow of Teleportation, a magic item. Basically, it's just as it sounds. You fire an arrow into an unoccupied space that's within 100 feet, and the archer, you in this case, teleports to that location. The arrow is destroyed upon impact, and this could be useful for a variety of reasons, but especially if you pick, like, let's say, Arcane Archer. I mean, why would you ever pick that? But let's say you go with Arcane Archer or another class that doesn't have access to magic. This could get you out of a sticky situation, especially if you don't want to sacrifice your action for a disengage. Like, this arrow could get you farther away than probably your movement feat. So, very useful item. I feel like this could come in handy into a lot of situations when you want to climb up a a hill or structure or something, you want to get away from an enemy, you want to cross a huge gap in a canyon or something. Very useful for multiple ways, and it doesn't feel like it's broken to me. So, Arrow of Teleportation at number 10. Coming in at number 9, we have the Priest Auxiliary level. I would say this is mainly for the people that want to be holy or devout, but without having to be, up your butt about it, man. Like, you're not a cleric or a paladin or anything like that. You're just a dude who is, I would say, religious, like a religious rogue or something like that. But you're not going around throwing holy water on everyone. Now, elements of this auxiliary level is you gain a d8 to your hit dice and your hit points. You gain proficiency in religion if you don't already have it. You gain some bonus cantrips and Spare the Dying and an additional cleric cantrip, which will probably end up being guidance. And your wisdom is your spell casting ability for those cantrips. You also gain channel divinity, of course, that you can use once a short or long rest. You gain turn undead, which is your typical thing that you would get as a cleric. So I mean, there's nothing really special there. But what is special is right here. Your other channel divinity is called Faith Healing. It's an action, has no effect on undead or constructs, and you target a single creature, and that single creature can roll d8s equal to half your character level. So if you're level 20, they can roll 10d8, and they regain that many hit points plus your wisdom modifier. So essentially, at max level, they heal up 10d8 plus your wisdom, which by then, well, I mean, then again, if you're taking this auxiliary level, you're probably not maxing out your wisdom, so 10d8 plus whatever your wisdom is. But that's our first auxiliary level on this ranking, and there you go, Priest. Coming in at number 8 is Jinxed, a starter feat. Sometimes I don't know, maybe you just want to play as a character that's as unlucky as you are in real life, or you just want to, add some fun, a little bit of flavor into your game. Well, that's where this starter feat comes into play. So you choose a number between 2 and 19. Whenever you roll for an ability check or an attack, and you get that number, it automatically becomes a 1. However, when a creature rolls an attack or contested ability check against you and they get that number, it becomes a 1. So it's kind of a give and take. It could screw you over, could screw over an enemy. It could save your life in the big boss battle at the end of the campaign, or it could get you killed. Regardless, it's got some randomness to it and a little bit of fun. So, Jinxed. That's number 8. Continuing down that track, at number 7, we have Fickle Fortune, which is a feat, not a starter feat. This is just your average feat. So, little fun fact about me, whenever I use a virtual tabletop, be it Foundry or Roll20 or whatever, I always roll like shit. But when I roll actual dice, I do alright. I'm not perfect, but I do alright. But for whatever reason, RNG on these websites hate my guts. So this feat might actually be something that comes in handy. So essentially, when you roll a 10 or lower on an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw 3 times in a row, so if you get 10 or lower 3 times in a row, you can change the result to a 20. It doesn't count as like a natural 20, so you're not critting or anything, but it's still a 20, so that could essentially save you in a lot of ways, and it's a little bonus for people who have bad luck like me. And considering the lucky feat is typically banned from what I've seen in like every campaign, this could be an alternative so you get lucky every now and then. Fickle Fortune. Coming in at number 6, we have the spell called Action. As an action, well, it is an action, oh my goodness, and it has a range of 30 feet. It lasts 1 round, And you give a willing, essentially you give a willing creature an additional action. That action can be used for one weapon attack, dash, disengage, hide, or use an object. Essentially, it's a slightly weaker haste, and it's incredibly useful because you can use it at as a first level spell, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Granted, you have to be able to use chronomancy spells because that is the tag for it. So you'll have to check Valda Spire of Secrets to see if your class has access to it, or you can take a feat that lets you use it too. Regardless, action number 6. Coming in at number 5, we have the feat, regular feat, called Favorite Spell. This one's pretty cool. So essentially you choose a 5th level or lower spell to be your favorite. You can take this feat multiple times and pick different spells each time. Now, with this feat, you can add a little flair to this spell. Me personally, what I would do is maybe add it to Magic Missile. If you, let's say you pick that Magic Missile wizard subclass I talked about in an earlier Valda Spire of Secrets video, this will add more flair to it than normal. Now you can, when you cast this spell, it counts as a spell slot higher. So let's say you pick Magic Missile, you cast it at level 2. Via this feat, it would count as a level 3 Magic Missile, but it would consume the level 2 spell slot. The spell cannot be counterspelled, and once a long rest, you can cast your favorite spell at its lowest level without a spell slot. Now, with the whole not being able to counterspell it, I could see DMs letting you use this feat and opting to not include that part of the feat because that seems really, really powerful. I mean, essentially, 5th level or lower, you could have this be counterspell, and you essentially have a counterspell that can't be counterspelled. So that seems really powerful, but maybe DMs will. I mean, I know a lot of DMs that just are so good at balancing the game that something like this probably wouldn't bother them. But I think it's awesome. Favorite spell. Coming in at number 4, we have Mage Hunter Blade. Magic item. It can be any sword, and it's a +2 sword at that. Now, if you hit a creature that's under the effects of a spell of 5th level or lower, the spell's dispelled. They also take additional damage, 1d8 force damage, per the level of the spell dispelled. So let's say they're under the effects of a 4th level spell, you hit them, it dispels it, and they take 4d8 force damage. I think that's really cool. Cantrips don't really count as damage, but they do get dispelled. Afterwards, you roll a d6. If the number you get is less than or equal to the level of the spell, you can't use the trait again until a long rest. So let's say you dispel a 2nd level spell, you roll the d6 and you get a 4, then you can use that effect again. And basically you can keep using it until you get that spell level or lower. Which, I mean, I was having an idea for like a fighter thing that just goes in and specifically targets spellcasters. So this sword might be something where I'm like, yo, DM, let me have this, or let me find it or something. Fits into the theme quite well. I think it's super cool and useful. So Mage Hunter Blade. Coming in at number 3, we have Clandestine Caster, an auxiliary level. Discretion can be an important thing when you're playing as a spellcaster, especially since just hearing you casting a spell can get you counterspelled like that. And sometimes maybe you don't want to come off as, the sharpest tool in the shed. You want to play the idiot a bit. Well, then this might be the auxiliary level for you. So you need to have the spell casting or pact magic feature in order to use this. Same thing, I believe, as the priest auxiliary level we talked about earlier. But this one, you gain a d6 to your hit dice and your hit points. You gain proficiency in Arcana or Deception. And I didn't mention this before, my bad. Auxiliary levels do contribute to your available spell slots. However, they don't contribute to your spells known or prepared. It's the same for the priest one as well. I just, for whatever reason, completely forgot to mention it. So the first feature of the Clandestine Caster is invisible cantrips. You can disguise it as you disguise a spell and that spell has to require a spell attack roll, but you disguise it as a melee weapon attack. You have to be holding the melee weapon, and the creature that you target with that attack has to be within 5 feet. The spell components and effects are completely invisible, appearing as though you're just using a weapon in the attack. So, I mean, Eldritch Blast, combine that with a melee attack. I think that's pretty cool. But then again, it says disguise as a melee weapon attack, so I don't think you would get the damage with the weapon attack. It would just be the spell. It's not completely clear. Maybe it's just left open-ended for the DM to determine, but at least from what I'm seeing, it doesn't really look like they would take the weapon damage as well. In addition to that, we also get Subtle Spell. Cast a spell without any somatic or verbal components once a short or long rest. If it was any more than that, I would say it's a bit much, but you can use it once. So once a short or long rest, I think that's fine. I think this adds a lot of flavor to spellcasters. I could see this working pretty well with like a warlock or something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. So there you go, Clandestine Caster. So coming in at number 2, we have an awesome starter feat called Arcane Preparation. Now, I would combine this with that Mirror Sorcerer that we talked about in the other Valda Spire of Secrets video, or from what I've heard, because I don't have the PDF yet, so I haven't really taken a look at it, but from what I've heard, I think the Blue Magic Witch would also hold well with this starter feat. I think it would really contribute with how those subclasses learn magic. So, and thematically, I think it would be awesome. So essentially, this feat kind of triggers when you're preparing spells after a long rest. You essentially assign a spell to each of your spell slots. Those spell slots can't be used for any other spell, and but they can be recovered and used to cast any spell. So I would assume that means, be it Arcane Recovery or that Channel Divinity that clerics get where they regain a spell slot. So if you assign, let's say, Mage Armor to a first level spell slot, you use it, and then use Arcane Recovery to get that spell slot back, you can use any other spell that you have prepared. And I also think maybe Warlocks, when they get their spell slots back after a short rest, I think that would also count towards the being able to use it for anything thing. You also gain an extra spell slot for each level of spell slots that you have, and that extra spell slot can be used on any spell. So it's like a freebie. It's like a freebie. I like that. So, for example, a 3rd level wizard would have 5 first level spell slots and 3 second level spell slots because of this starter feat. That's instead of the normal 4 first level spell slots and 2 second level spell slots a 3rd level wizard would normally have. You could then assign 3 first level magic missiles and 1 first level sleep to your first level spell slots, and then assign 1 second level Scorching Ray and 1 second level Mirror Image to your second spell slots, and you would still have your bonus first and second level spell slot to use with any spell that you have. So I think that's really cool. You could roleplay as like a wizard or a sorcerer or something that for whatever reason, be it like some mental thing, like they just can't grasp the concept of having this wide variety of spells to use at disposal. Maybe it's like anxiety or something. So they have to associate each spell with their magical capability, which in this case would be spell slots. I think has a lot of good role-playing potential. And I think it'd be a lot of fun to use. I definitely want to try using this. So maybe it's a feature character build in the future. Like I would show what kind of character I would make to go along with that. It's one of my favorites. The number one, number two slots in this list were I could easily flip flop them any day of the week. Like Arcane Preparation is extremely useful. The last but not least, coming in at number one is the spell Game of Fate. An action has a range of 60 feet and it lasts for an hour. An unwilling creature makes a wisdom saving throw. If the creature fails, it is compelled to join you in any game of your choice. The loser of that game, and when I mean game, I mean it could be like a card game, a game of dice, arm wrestling, any game. The loser takes 66 psychic damage, and if by the end of the duration no one is won or lost, you both take the damage. You can negotiate for greater stakes, be it for more damage. I believe that it goes up to like 10d6 is the max, or pretty much anything that's within your guys' power. But the spell can tell if you're betting something that you're incapable of completing. So you could bet like a magic item, you could bet your spouse, you could bet your house, you could bet, if you win, I'll knight thee in this kingdom. You could bet pretty much anything, and you both have to agree at this on the stakes. Rewards are teleported to the winner on conclusion of the game, and the loser is magically forced to perform any of the required actions for the reward. No spell, magical effect, or creature other than the two of you can influence the game's outcome. Now, the first thing, this is going to sound really dumb, but the first thing that came to my mind when I saw this was I was thinking of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series on YouTube. You know how everything is settled, the children's card game, that whole gag. So it's like I would troll the DM hard. I would get this spell, not use it for the entire game, and then in the final encounter with the big bad, I would use the spell on him. Like I think that would be hilarious to wager the lives of thousands on like a game of cards or something like that. But regardless, I think you could have a lot of fun with this, and it could also have a lot of good role playing elements to it, and it could help you progress in the story. Let's say none of your party can convince this villain or whatever to spill any secrets. DM is scratching his head like, "Oh crap, how am I gonna help them progress through this story?" And then, bam, game of fate. You win the game, hopefully, and you get the information that you seek. I think there's a lot of cool possibilities with this, but that's number one, Game of Fate. And again, I encourage everyone to go check out their backer kit. Go support these third-party developers for D&D. They are the backbone. They're the people that keep us going. And Valda Spire of Secrets definitely deserves your support. It's a great supplement, and as you can see, it has a lot of stuff that it can contribute to your game. I'll be providing a link to everything Mage Hand Press and Valda Spire of Secrets down below in the description, and I really hope that you go show them some love. Now, coming up, it's coming, I promise. I will be playing Baldur's Gate 3 Patch 6. I'm gonna do it. It's coming. I've just I'm still new to all this YouTube stuff, so it's really hard for me to prioritize like what to do, what to drop, what to push forward. Like I'm trying here. I'm trying. I'm only like a month and a half into this. And I'll also be playing Solasta Crown of the Magister when the new Druid and I think Barbarian DLC drops. I'll be playing that. I think I'll stream that. I'm not entirely sure how I don't know if I'm going to stream both of them or have them be like playthroughs or something. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll at least stream maybe the first episode of each. I'm also going to be doing more Sky Raiders of Abrax content. Now, I know in the Kickstarter video, they kind of had that little digital book they were flipping through, and they've been streaming some playtest material, so I'm going to be analyzing that a little bit, wrap it up into a video for you guys to get you more content on that. And the Fizzbands content is coming. Now, I know every big D&D YouTuber in the world has already made videos on it, breaking down all the nifty little things you could have. I'm going to be taking a different approach to it. I'm going to be going chapter by chapter, kind of not necessarily summarizing each chapter, but I'm going to be comparing it to other supplements that we have out there, be it Jetpack 7's Legendary Dragons, or the Draconomicon from DM's Guild. Regardless, I'm going to be kind of comparing it to other things out there, not necessarily to see, who did it better, but just to see, what things are out there to help supplement your dragon needs. I think it'd be interesting to see, you know, everything that's out there. I mean, maybe, yeah, probably point out where I think Fizzbands dropped the ball and where other uh supplements excelled. But regardless, that's it for this video. All this stuff is coming soon, 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 I promise. And thank you all again for the support and for everything. It's been a blast providing content for everyone. So have yourselves a good day, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.